You know, Jay, I was looking at your today's car in your parking space, and no car phone antenna, no car phone. I was so impressed.
No, my cars don't even have radios. Most of them, they're so old. You know, I usually drive 50s or 60s stuff, so even AM is like a huge deal. You know.
Now, is doing movies something that you would still like to do at one
No,
point?
no.
Or is that pretty much...
I mean, if someone asked you to be in a movie, it's very flattering. Oh, that would be nice. I don't actively seek movie things. It's not. If someone said, "Would you rather do this or do a movie?" I'd rather do this. You know. So no, I mean it's fun, but I don't. You know, movies are fun after you do them. After you do them, and they're in the theater or they're on TV, you go, "Oh, there's a movie I did." You know, they're not fun to do. This is fun to do because the audience is right there and people are responding to what you're saying. You know, but no, I can't say they're fun to make. They're fun after you make them.
You know, a lot of comedians these days are doing TV series. Before you started doing the Tonight Show as a guest host, were there some series that came your way that you seriously contemplated doing?
Oh, I may have seriously contemplated doing them. I don't think anybody else did. You know, it wasn't like, yeah, you know, hold on, folks, I'm thinking of... No, I mean, I auditioned for parts, and, you know, I did guest spots on, you know, Laverne and Shirley and all that kind of stuff, but I never had a series, no, and it isn't... I like sitcoms. I like Seinfeld and a few of those, but for the most part, I'm not a great one for, oh, honey, the boss is coming and we've burned the roast. Oh, my God, you know, it's not really my thing.
I was in New York last weekend, and I went to a Dangerfield's, a comedy club,
Oh, yeah,
and I enjoyed that a lot. Do you still get a chance to go to comedy clubs?
Oh, every weekend.
I mean, just
Yeah.
not to work, but just to sit and enjoy the show?
Well, you know, in this position, you can't really sit and enjoy the show because people will say, oh, you're in the audience, we've put 22 comics on. So then you have to stay for all 22. And then the friend of the comic will watch you to see if you laugh. So you'll sit like this, you know, honey. You know, if you don't laugh, then it's like, oh, Jay Leno, you hated my show. You know, so it's a little awkward. You really, I mean, I'll go in to see a performer, but you know, when you host the Tonight Show, suddenly everybody's got an uncle who plays the spoons or something. And then if you do watch someone, I don't like to tell somebody that they're not right for the show. So you say, well, you know, this isn't... I mean, you just wind up sort of giving advice or answering questions, which I don't mind a little bit, but if I'm with my wife or something, it gets a little boring to her because, you know, because I'm, oh, honey, I just get... You know, so it's a little awkward, actually. It's hard to sort of sit and just watch a show because people watch you to see if you're laughing at the guy on stage, you know.
You know, I really enjoyed the way over the last year Tonight Show has become stronger and stronger, the introduction of all the new things. For a while there, it seemed that the other talk show was getting all the attention.
Right, right.
Through all that time, were you ever, at any point, really discouraged or seriously considering just forgetting this and going on with your
Finding
stand-up?
some other line of work? Well, no. Well, I think yes and no. There are times when you would get terribly discouraged, but you tend to put things in perspective, you know. I'm fortunate that I have a trade. You know, I was a comedian before I did this, and I would just go out on the road and be a comedian again. I mean, if you had a rough week, especially the first couple of weeks when Chevy and Dave and all the new shows came on, and we had been on for a while already, and, you know, we took a little hit. So, but you go out on a weekend, and you go to a club, and it sells out. Well, then you feel good. Oh, I must be doing something right. People seem to like it, you know. I would hate to think that my whole career depended on... Because when you do television, you see, when you go into a live audience and there are 3,000 seats and all 3,000 seats are sold, well, you know how you do. You know, when you're on television, people come and say, all right, you're doing well, but we're dropping with immature young men between 13 and 14, okay? We need to have something blow up or an explosion or something or a car screeching to try and get that segment of the audience. You know, you have these little notes that people give you. So when you work for yourself, you can see exactly and feel exactly what you should be doing. When you're on TV, you get pieces of paper with numbers on them. If the number is high, you go, oh, gee, I feel good. If the number is low, you go, but it's not, you know, it's not as visceral as doing a live act.
I got 2 questions left, and
Sure.
a serious one. When we spoke, I think one of the first times on satellite was when all the talk shows were coming together.
Right.
And I asked you about Johnny Carson, about him being on the show.
Right.
And you said that, well, there's so many talk shows on, and he was friends with everybody. It would be hard for him to come on one show.
Right.
And then when when Letterman came out to L.A. and Carson came on twice. And some papers were saying, well, this means Johnny Carson is putting his seal approval on David Letterman.
That's probably true.
Well, how did you feel when that happened? Did
Well,
that
you know, you have to understand, David and Johnny were friends before I came along. I have my favorites too. Would I love to have Johnny come by? Sure, of course, that would be great. That'd be wonderful. But that's okay. I mean, I understand. I mean, Johnny is a very classy guy, and it wasn't something as if I'm going to throw it in somebody's face. A lot of Johnny's old staff works with David, and they were good friends since, since the 70s when David first started doing the show. And so consequently, you know, I thought Johnny was very classy and very dignified in the way he went about it. And, you know, he did a little walk-on, then there's a sketch where he drove by. I mean, he didn't come on and say, you know, passing of the crown. I mean, it wasn't like he, you know, it's just everybody has friends. I mean, I have plenty of friends in show business that some I like as friends and some I like professionally better. You know, and it's a hard decision to make, but that didn't bother me a great deal. I mean, I appreciate his honesty, and he's always been very good to me, so I can't complain about that.
And one quick final question,
Sure.
This is a lighthearted question, is every interviewer has bad moments in interviews.
Yeah.
And when you interview lots of people, do you ever forget somebody's name when you're talking with them?
Oh, all the time.
And how do you get out of that?
I don't forget names. I am somewhat dyslexic, so when you do that, I will say something, and did I just say that backwards? You know, that's the worst feeling in the world. Sometimes you watch me during the monologue. I try to get as familiar as I can with the monologue, but if I don't have it right, sometimes I'll flip a word or something and, you know, watch it later and go, oh, man. But yeah, no, you do that because you're looking at someone, who is this? You know? Oh, yes. You know, I mean, yes, it does happen. I mean, it's very odd because, you know, we've had over 2,000 guests since I've been on. And I went to like this party thing recently, and someone introduced me to this extremely attractive woman. I said, hi, how are you? How are things going? She said, oh, I'm doing this. I'm in this upcoming film. And I started to say, just as I started to say, oh, you know, you should come on the program. I said, you know, and she said, oh, I really enjoyed doing the show last week. You did? Well, you were great. You were fabulous. I know, but her hair was different, and it was red, and there are now implants. I mean, it was like someone in the witness protection program. I went back and looked at tape. It didn't even look like the same person. She had gotten implants. Her hair was now blonde and short. She was somehow taller. But I went, yes, you were fabulous. Who is this? So, yes, those things can happen.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. All right,